Hey everybody, and welcome to another GroundedTV live stream. So yeah, today's starting pretty late. Took way longer than I thought I would in the city there. I don't want to. It was just a crazy day. Crazy. I hate going to the city. So glad I left the city. No desire to move back whatsoever, especially after days like today. I'm just like, nah, I'm done. I'm done. Anyways, we're going to get right into this. So there's some breaking news, essentially with this hot mic moment caught on camera, Trudeau saying some pretty crazy stuff. Like, I've already watched the clip and I was like, oh, okay. So you clearly are on a different page than what you are being publicly, but I guess that's politics. Afternoon, Rhonda and Justin Trudeau. How's it going, guys? Anyways, we'll get right into it.
The threat of U.S. tariffs. He addressed. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called a last-minute economic summit today to discuss the threat of U.S. tariffs. He addressed hundreds of business, labor, and policy experts this morning in Toronto, vowing to bring free trade across Canada. But it was his comments behind closed doors that are garnering the most attention.
Excellent. I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know how critical they keep talking about.
So it's kind of hard to hear there, guys. I'm going to rewind a bit and I'll kind of read out what he's saying in the subtitles. So basically he's saying, this is Trudeau talking. It's kind of like a half audible hot mic moment. So he says, I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know how many critical minerals we have, but that we may be even why they keep talking about absorbing us. They're very aware of our resources.
And Trey Isri, who joins us from the Ottawa Bureau.
So yeah, like right there, I'll just read it out now that you kind of heard the original audio. This is as loud as I can get it for you guys. So basically what he says is why they maybe keep talking about absorbing us and making us the 51st state of what we have, and they very much want to be able to benefit from those. But Mr. Trump has in mind that one of the easiest ways. Okay, so I guess I'm missing something here. Mr. Trump has in mind one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country. Basically saying that they want our critical minerals and natural resources, and Trump is bent on absorbing our country in order to obtain those, or thinks that's the best method, sorry, I should say.
And Trey Isri, who joins us from the Ottawa Bureau. Tria,
So yeah, it's kind of hard to hear the original audio, and he's saying, and it is a real thing. So he's taken, you can see that behind closed doors, Trudeau is taking this threat very seriously, a lot more seriously than I guess a lot of people would normally. So this whole situation is just wild to me. Like, I can't believe, this is, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't really like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, part of me just gets a bad feeling about the whole thing, not gonna lie. So this whole thing is just pretty wild, I gotta say. But anyways, it's just, yeah.
And Trey Isri, who joins us from the Ottawa Bureau. Tria, we appreciate this. So let's begin with the comments. The Prime Minister caught on a hot mic. What did he say?
So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau started the morning addressing a packed room, and it was a very go Canada go, speech to sort of get the crowd motivated to figure out new ways to tackle so many economic challenges that have really come into sharp focus since Trump's tariff threat. But then he had said, okay, media, it's time to leave the room so that some of the people in attendance can ask questions privately. But his mic was
like, what kind of is that? That's a thing. Is just wild to me that they kicked the media out of the room. I mean, that's like somehow okay and normal.
Not cut off. The audio was still rolling. And he said that after his conversation with Trump, so you might remember he had 2 phone calls with him this week, that he believes that Donald Trump's threats to Canadian sovereignty are real, that they are serious. And he had pointed to the fact that Trump is well aware of how Canada is a very rich country in terms of natural resources. And so let me just read back to you some of what Trudeau had said to the room. He said, "I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know..."
He also locked the door, apparently. Yeah, I heard that, and that's what we're going to get to next, is we got some other politicians reacting to this whole situation. We're going to get into right after this.
How many critical minerals we have, but that may be even why they keep talking about absorbing us and making us the 51st state. Mr. Trump has it in mind that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and it is a real thing. So those remarks...
Good afternoon, Hurricane.
Are a lot more candid than what we've heard from the Prime Minister. You know, when Trump first made the comments about Canada becoming the 51st state, they were largely dismissed as a joke. But as he continued to make those comments, ministers, the Prime Minister, started taking it more seriously. And you see just how seriously now that comment is.
Well, I think they've always taken it this seriously. I was talking to Saul about this off stream beforehand, because Saul can't make it to stream right now. But we were talking about before he joined in, and I was just like, you know, this whole situation is just wild to me, because like I honestly didn't take it as seriously. And then hearing this, to hear that they're taking it that seriously, means that our officials are probably taking it that seriously too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just Trudeau probably taking it this seriously. But it's not even that he forgot his mic was on. They're calling it a hot mic moment because he didn't know he was being recorded, I guess, is what the idea is. But I wasn't the first to call it a hot mic moment. It seems like, you know, it's hard because you don't have a visual of him. You just see someone walking up the stairs, recording with their phone, right? And holding their phone down, like anonymously imagining.
Being taken.
Yeah, no question. Joke or not, a lot of people in this country, most people certainly not laughing. So what has the reaction been to those comments?
So some of the ministers spoke this afternoon, and they were very clear. Canada will never be part of the U.S. Canada will never be annexed. It is a sovereign country. Business leaders, political leaders, everybody is on board with that, and they seem to be really quite fired up. So take a listen to what they had to say.
Canada is free. Canada is sovereign. Canada will choose its own destiny. Thank you very much. But Canada is forever.
It's like, unfortunately, I don't think we have much of a choice. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's really up to us what happens. Like, that's what scares me about this whole thing. It's like, it's not up to Canada what happens. You know what I mean? It's not. Like, America is the one who controls the situation.
The spirit in the room, the spirit around each and every table I have been at in the last 2 to 3 months, that's business leaders, that's government leaders, that's labor leaders, reflects one unified comment and response. And that is, there will be no messing with the 49th parallel, period.
So that's just the official global news story that when, like, the way they broke it, this was the event he was at when that moment had happened. I believe that happened shortly after this little speech, but yeah, so we're just going to get into a little bit of what was talked about in this. It's a short clip. It's 14 minutes long. So we're just going to get through this as well, just to kind of go over the whole situation and break it down a bit.
Olivia, take it away.
I'm guessing you're an American, Jeff.
Good morning, bonjour. Bienvenue à Toronto. Prime Minister, thank you for your tremendous leadership. You've been a friend of Toronto, and we've celebrated a lot of successes together. Building more housing faster, feeding more kids, and investing in public transit to get Toronto moving. And that goes to prove that we are stronger when we come together. And here today, I look around, look at us. It is leaders from business and labor and trade, government, all coming together as proud Canadians. Yes, proud Canadians. United together.
Okay, we're gonna
to
skip past
face
Chow here.
the
I don't know.
threat of this. Let us welcome Justin Trudeau.
I really don't care what she has to say, honestly.
Thanks, Olivia. Thank you for your welcome here to Toronto. But mostly, thank you,
all of you for coming together in this moment. This is a moment. This is a time in our country's history, and our time in our economic, but also our life as a country that really, really matters. And I want to thank every one of you for being here. I want to particularly recognize this incredible council that we've gathered, that we've been working with very, very closely over the past number of weeks. But one of the challenges we've had with this council is keeping it small enough so that we can have genuine engagement with top leaders from across the country, from different industries, but the idea that we'd love to have hundreds of people on the council, and that's exactly what this morning is all about. Each and every one of you being part of Team Canada right now to contribute and to help shape the conversations that Canadians are having right across the country. C'est un moment maintenant pour nous de se rassembler et d'un avenir plus fort, plus en plus. And the place Canadians are in right now is, quite frankly, inspiring. How people have been stepping up over the past few weeks, sharing lists of how they can buy Canadian in their everyday lives, reflecting on where they want to spend their dollars on vacation, whether it's Cape Breton or Banff or Quebec City, thinking about how they can contribute as workers, as business leaders, as individuals to moving Canada forward in all the ways that matters. And individual Canadians, whether it's leaders on the council like Wes Hall, Arlene Dickinson, Jean Charest, or others, stepping up to talk about this moment of pride in Canada and how we can pull together and take on this challenge and the opportunity that comes with it. And that's why gathering all of you here today to reflect on...
When he says pull together, he really means just pull together to stop complaining about what I choose to do.
That to pull together and to chart a path forward for this country is so incredibly important, because this is Team Canada at its very best. Thank you for being here. As I said, I think we need to do two things in this. We need to both start thinking tactically and strategically. On the tactical side, we need to talk about tariffs. The 30 days extension been given on the border or fentanyl tariffs is something we need to use. We need to be very deliberate about how we continue to engage closely with the United States to make the case and demonstrate that Canada is responsible for a tiny part of the North American fentanyl problem, but that we are also bitterly touched by this tragedy. We also want to be part of solving for this. And over the next 30 days, we will demonstrate that even the tiny amount that is Canada's responsibility into the United States is going to reduce even further by working together, not just across our border, but internationally as well, to make sure that there is no reason to move forward with those tariffs 30 days from now. And that is a priority. But also tactically, if those tariffs do end up coming in, or if the investigation into commerce tariffs that are scheduled for April move forward.
Saying all this while proroguing Parliament, guys. Like, what a moron. Like, what, just a POS. Like, literally just like talking like we all need to do more. We all just need to pull together to defeat this threat, when he could literally just get out of the way and let Canadians pull together to vote into who they want in the election. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, this whole thing is just so stupid. Like, it's just, I can't believe we're still prorogued. If everything going on, we're just not even going to have Parliament doing anything. Like, how is that Team Canada to not have all the people that we voted in to represent us being told that they have no say in this matter? And just the certain people who've voted for this minority government gets to make all these decisions. Like, that's what we're in right now. Like, it's just so stupid.
We need to be ready to respond robustly, as we are. We also have to be ready to support Canadians through the responses we're giving and through a difficult time of tariffs. That's something we have to talk about. But we have to keep in mind that our goal will always be to get those tariffs lifted as quickly as possible. That's the approach we have to have tactically around tariffs, that is focused on demonstrating the depth of the relationship, demonstrating that we can solve the challenges they're facing, but also make sure we're protecting Canadians and moving forward. Alors, de façon tactique, oui, il faut qu'on se concentre sur les tarifs. Mais il faut aussi parler stratégie. This particular challenge over the next 30 days or few months, but how we get through and thrive and grow stronger over the next 4 years and into what may be a more challenging long-term political situation with the United States. How do we make sure we are resilient as an economy? And for me, there's 3 areas we need to think about: Canada, the United States, and international. First of all, on Canada, it's about time we had genuine free trade within Canada. Vous le savez tous, il existe encore beaucoup de ministres annex dans ces territoires pour, après des décennies d'efforts par plein de gouvernements, réellement saisir l'opportunité qu'on a. Now, internal trade is something that we've been talking about, and quite frankly, the business community has been talking about for decades, as we have to move forward on it. This is one of those moments and opportunities where we actually can. There's a window open because of the context we're in. We have to jump through it. And it's not just about political will, because I can tell you all the premiers are united in saying, yes, let's do it. But there's challenges within bureaucracies that say, oh, but it'll be hard to recognize teaching certificates from one quarter of the country versus another. It'll be hard to get proper labor mobility, or there's a reason we have a specific tire requirement on our trucks for our province, or a specific need for a first aid kit in those trucks that differs from one place to the other. A lot of barriers that just don't make sense. But it's going to require all of us, not just governments, but business leaders as well, to step up and push hard and make sure that in this moment, we actually move forward on free trade within Canada that'll make us more efficient, more competitive, and give greater opportunities for Canadians, and not just individual Canadians, but businesses and suppliers to do business across Canada, east-west, and not just north-south, that has always been easy and default until this point. So that's something I'm going to need all of your help on to push. Secondly, trade with the U.S. Now, there's a lot of talk about diversification. We'll get to that as well. But let's face some facts here. We are Canada. Geography means we're always going to both benefit and be challenged by trade with the United States. It's always going to be a big chunk of our economy. Can we be deliberate and strategic about where we're creating?
It's almost just like it's common sense, guys. You know, a lot of Pierre's ideas. Like, it's almost like they weren't that crazy of ideas. You know, they're probably pretty, you know, ideas that have been toted around before. You know what I mean? And like, for them just to pick them up because they're good ideas isn't a bad move on their part. And honestly, I'm just all for moving forward as a country. I just want certain things to happen. I'm not married to any politician. You know what I mean? There's my idea of what I want this country to be. And for me, that's where I think the Conservatives at the moment are the best representation of that, or have the same or similar ideology that I do. Whereas this guy, in a sense, up to this point, like, yeah, he might say things I agree with, but it's going to take more than just this for me to be like, oh yeah, you know, maybe Trudeau's not so bad. Like, I don't think Trudeau can ever shake off what his legacy, if you want to call it that, is. But realistically, whether or not Mark Carney or a different one can salvage their party, like, I don't know. I hope not, but we'll see what happens. Like, I don't know what all this stuff about the polling is about, where they're talking about the Conservatives being way behind Mark Carney, but it's like, I haven't seen any of those polls. And then there was one they did in one riding. It was like a Liberal riding, and 43% wanted Mark Carney. So it's like, obviously, like, it's a Liberal riding. Like, they're all these Liberal ridings that were like, that Trudeau was losing, are probably so happy somebody like Mark Carney has come in place, because now it's like they feel like they have somebody that they can get behind in the Liberals who's not Trudeau, right? And I think that it's just, yeah, I don't know. I just want us to move forward as a country, bottom line.
Deeper partnerships that make sense. where we're looking at, whether it's critical.
Yeah, and Angus Reid still had the Conservatives at 43 and the Liberals at 21, and then Nanos had them like reversed. So I don't know if that's just misinformation or if it was just like some common trolling. I don't know.
Minerals that are going to be so essential for the future and that international suppliers are a little more unreliable on, certain countries are unreliable on, whether it's moving forward on energy and deepening our energy links in a positive way that actually solidifies those ties and makes them less vulnerable to the vagaries of politics. Can we be thoughtful and deliberate about the kinds of partnerships that enhance and create true win-wins, but also give us a little more protection against...
Hey, Silver Fox. Yeah, we're just recapping a moment. We're right after this press conference or this announcement that he was doing right here, this whatever the heck this is, economic summit. I don't know what the point of this is. I guess it's all these corporations meeting with the government and expressing what they want and stuff. But essentially, he has a hot mic moment saying that Trump's threats are very real, basically taking a very frank approach to it that I quite haven't heard him take before. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, though, right? Like, we'll see what happens.
Political rhetoric in the United States. These are things we can deliberately look at, that we are looking at, and certainly Minister Champagne is there engaging with that.
Oh,
Minister
so much
Wilkins
better to have Philippe Champagne there.
On energy. And
is there any liberals that like Philippe Champagne? Like I'm just curious. Like anybody who actually likes him, like do people in his own riding like him? Like are they pretty big fans of him? I'm just curious if anyone knows.
Critical minerals, there's a lot of conversations happening that says, okay, we're always going to be trading with the United States. Can we make sure we're doing it from a position of strength and solidity and protect ourselves for the long term? Mais le troisième élément, bien sûr, c'est plus de commerce à l'international. Making sure we're taking advantage of the incredible trade deals that Canada has signed, most of them over the past 9 years, with 2/3 of the global economy. From CPTPP with Asian, South American, and
yeah, we'll rewatch the hot mic clip after this. We watched it at the start of the stream, and I think a lot of people missed it because not everyone quite was filled in yet. So we'll just we'll watch it again after this.
One European country with the UK joining the CPTPP. We have a tremendous opportunity to go where a big center of gravity of the economy is being pulled, but it's not enough to just sign a trade deal. We have to actually then follow up on it with trade missions, with actual investments, with partnerships, and that's why Mary Ying, our trade minister, who's not here today, is on her way. She's right now at the WTO in Geneva, and she's on her way to Australia and Asia to engage even further on another trade mission. We need to follow up on that. We have a free trade deal with Europe that has seen opportunities grow significantly over the past years, but can we do even more? Can we look at diversifying our supply chains so that we do have those opportunities internationally as well? You know, can we look at new markets that we're opening up? There's so many different opportunities and challenges we can get to that there is a moment right now that we all should be talking about. So what we're going to do this morning is we'll do a little bit of Q&A with the council that I will facilitate, and I'll answer a few questions from you guys as well. Then we're going to go and pull together in different groups to talk about sectoral impacts, to talk about Team Canada, so we can draw on your ideas and come together with...
It sounds like a weird, like, awkward high school class or something. Like, okay, everyone pair up to partners. What we talk about? It's like weird.
Even more.
It's a weird environment to be something like this.
Plans and more solutions for how we move forward as a country, because Canadians are watching right now. They're watching to see that our leadership collectively is able to meet this moment, is able to step up, is able to be there to say, this is Canada.
He did not say Ukraine company joined the CPP, from what I understood, from what I got from it all.
We got this, and this is how we're going to do it. That's what Canadians want. That's what Canadians are counting on, and that's what I know we are all here to do, all committed to building. So
this is the speech he gave. We're gonna watch the clip now. We'll pause it there. It's a good freeze frame right there, huh? All right. Sorry.
Today to discuss the...
So we watch this short clip, just kind of recapping what happened. The audio is very hard to hear. There will be some subtitles up on the screen. You should be able to see no problem, and they'll recap it after the clip plays. So try your best to hear. It's super quiet, even with the clip full volume. Someone's very far away recording with a phone, it sounds like. It's a really weird recording. So I'm just going to play it now.
The threat of U.S. tariffs. He addressed hundreds of business, labor, and policy experts this morning in Toronto, vowing to bring free trade across Canada. But it was his comments behind closed doors that are garnering the most attention.
Excellent. I suggest that not only the Trump administration know how critical why they keep talking about absorbing and making us they're very aware of what we have, and they very much to benefit. But
and Tree Isri, who joins us from the Ottawa Bureau.
So yeah, and then they kind of recap. They're going to recap exactly what was said there. It was very hard to hear in that audio.
Taria, we appreciate this. So let's begin with the comments. The Prime Minister caught on a hot mic. What did he say?
Yeah, they're not supporting him. I think they're sitting around there looking for answers to questions they have. From what I understand, there was some very unhappy people and unhappy manufacturer leaders in Canada with the ongoing tariff situation.
So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau started the morning addressing a packed room, and it was a very go Canada go, speech to sort of get the crowd motivated to figure out.
So we just watched that speech. That was the speech he gave, and then that clip was taken afterwards.
New ways to tackle so many economic challenges that have really come into sharp focus since Trump's tariff threat. But then he had said, okay, media, it's time to leave the room so that some of the people in attendance can ask questions privately. But his mic was not cut off. The audio was still rolling. And he said that after his conversation with Trump, so you might remember he had 2 phone calls with him this week, that he believes that Donald Trump's threats to Canadian sovereignty are real, that they are serious. And he had pointed to the fact that Trump is well aware of how Canada is a very rich country in terms of natural resources. And so let me just read back to you some of what Trudeau had said to the room. He said, I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know how many critical minerals we have, but that may be even why they keep talking about absorbing us and making us the 51st state.
So that's kind of like what they broke it up. So basically, to me, like, he can't say this in public because it's geopolitical implications, right? Like, you don't want to provoke things even more. You don't want to ensue panic. You don't want also people who might support the idea egging it on more. It's just like, it's not going to make the situation easier if they're trying to control it or contain it, right? So that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like that's why he did it. But this is politics, right? This is what politics is. Like, the fact that he didn't say that he has a different opinion behind closed doors doesn't shock me at all. And I believe Pierre probably does too about a lot of things. Everybody needs to remember that. All politicians have a media version of themselves, right? We can hope it's as close to their genuine person as possible, but sometimes it's not.
Mr. Trump has it in mind that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and it is a real thing. So those remarks are a lot more candid than what we've heard from the Prime Minister. When Trump first made the comments about Canada becoming the 51st state, they were largely dismissed as a joke. But as he continued to make those comments, ministers, the Prime Minister, started taking it more seriously. And you see just how seriously now that comment is being taken. Yeah, no question. Joke or not, a lot of people in this country, most people certainly not laughing. So what has the reaction been to those comments? So some of the ministers spoke this afternoon, and they were very clear. Canada will never be part of the U.S. Canada will never be annexed. It is a sovereign country. Business leaders, political leaders, everybody is on board with that, and they seem to be really quite fired up. So take a listen to what they had to say.
Canada's free.
Yeah, we're going to watch that after, so we'll skip past that. Skip to Conservative MP Michael Barrett responding to this. One second. I'm just going to grab my coffee, though. 1 second, guys.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, check.
Okay, sorry. Got their mic test and I got my coffee. Sorry about that. Oh, wow. They didn't edit this at all. Oh, wow. It's just 35 minutes. So this is going to be way longer. This is like 10 minutes. And he probably does the same thing in French.
Go to Toronto.
So Michael Barrett, Conservative MP.
Good afternoon. This morning we saw Prime Minister Justin Trudeau go to Toronto and make a speech that was accompanied by no commitment for action, but he was joined by a room full of insiders and former politicians and politicians. And when he was done making his speech, without taking any questions from the media, he kicked them all out of the room and shut the doors. Now, we agree with Justin Trudeau on one thing, and that's that there should be a meeting happening and that the Prime Minister should be there. But that meeting should be here in Ottawa, and it should be right here in the House of Commons with the 338 members of Parliament who were elected to address the issues that our nation is facing.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Is like he's not wrong there at all. This is where he went wrong. Is regardless of your political affiliation, like I'd be surprised to find many people who agree with this prorogation, even if you are a liberal. Like I feel like, yeah, you might be not want an election. You probably don't want Pierre to become prime minister, but do you really want just nothing to be happening? Do you really just want this prorogation? Do you want our government just to be frozen in place right now? Hey, Blonde and Law.
And what issues could be more important than what is being addressed in the Trudeau performance in Toronto today? The threat of 25% tariffs, the need to put Canada first, to secure our border for Canadians, to break down interprovincial trade barriers, to make sure that we can pass a bring-it-home tax cut for Canadians. That's supposed to happen here in Parliament. Debated on the floor of the House of Commons, studied in the committee rooms in this very building. But the Liberals have decided to put party ahead of country.
Yep.
And, well, Justin Trudeau performs in...
And that's what I mean. Is there many people who agree with that? Like who are on the side of the Liberals? Like I feel like there are. Like I feel like there is. Like, you know, even if you don't like the Conservatives, you probably still agree with that statement.
Toronto, the rest of the Liberals are lined up behind their leadership hopefuls like Carbon Tax Carney and Carbon Tax Christia, who have yet to pronounce on if they share Mr. Trudeau's view that Parliament isn't important. But look, the absence of them having said it underscores that we know that they don't see the value in putting country before party. And it's very simple. The steps laid out, the common sense plan laid out by Pierre Poilievre to be prepared in the eventuality that tariffs are levied, to strengthen our economy by breaking down those interprovincial trade barriers that the Liberals have failed to address over their 9 years, and to make sure that we can make work pay again, to deliver a meaningful, bring-it-home tax cut, and to repeal the damaging policies of the Liberal government that have stopped the development of pipelines, that have stopped the exporting of our natural resources that would help deliver powerful paychecks for Canadians and would help diversify the trade that we're able to do as a country.
It's like he forced himself to say diversify.
Look, it's an important time in our country, and the questions that need to be put to Mr. Trudeau can't today because he's gone into hiding behind a locked door. They aren't being put to Mr. Carney because he's in hiding as well. And the last time he was asked if Parliament should be sitting, he ran away. And Ms. Freeland seems equally unconcerned. This is a democracy. Canadians expect that their views and their voices will be heard here in Parliament. And today we're renewing our call for Parliament to be recalled because it should be sitting. Parliament was scheduled to be sitting today. It should be our second week in our winter session, but it was shuttered. These doors were locked by Justin Trudeau when the Liberals decided to put party ahead of country. So let's get back to work. Let's recall Parliament so that we can debate the issues, pass legislation that is going to deliver real action for Canadians where we can put Canada first. Thank you.
Is Donald Trump coming after Canada's critical minerals? Do you agree with the hot mic comments made by Prime Minister Trudeau earlier today, suggesting that we should take Donald Trump's threat of Canada becoming the 51st state seriously and implying that Trump wants to control Canada's critical minerals?
Dominic LeBlanc, the finance minister, and Justin Trudeau both told Canadians, just down the hall from here actually, that the comments by President Trump were made in jest and were not to be taken seriously.
Yeah,
so
he did.
We've been told for the last several months that these comments weren't to be believed. So now we find ourselves in a situation where they're saying that a sudden crisis has emerged with respect to these comments that for months they've said weren't to be taken seriously. The Liberals have an opportunity to address this very important question that you ask, and it should be addressed right here in the House of Commons. That's where Canadians expect us to protect our national interests, to make sure that we have relationships and we have trade agreements and we have partnerships that put Canada first, including and especially with respect to our natural resources.
Does it concern you, though, that Canada's largest ally might be coming after our natural resources? I mean, and if you're in power, if you become government, what are you going to do about that?
Well, look, we've been told by the people who were at the table that these comments aren't to be taken seriously. That's
not the case now. So if it is the case that Donald Trump is coming after our natural resources, what are you going to do about it if you're in government?
If the assertion is that Mr. Trudeau was lying, then and that's your assertion, then it should be addressed here in the House of Commons. There were 338 members of Parliament elected. It's absurd that the Liberals have shut down Parliament so the debate can't happen about what we can do to put Canada first. What do we need to do to strengthen our borders? What do we need to do to have robust and diversified trade? And Mr. Poilievre has put forward a very clear plan with respect to strengthening our border, with respect to getting our critical natural resources, critical minerals and natural resources to Tidewater, getting them to market, repealing the legislation that the Liberals have passed that have stymied those efforts. So we've put forward a plan. This is the place that should be debated. Anything that Mr. Trudeau and Mr. LeBlanc have said obviously can't be believed. They've been demonstrated to be lying to Canadians, but that needs to be the issues need to be debated.
He seems pissed.
Here in Parliament, that's what Canadians elected us to do.
But he's a Conservative MP, right? So take his opinion. If you're not Conservative, you might not agree with him.
Is your party to pass that Canada First plan, or is it to vote to bring down the government and non-confidence vote?
We've been very clear that both things can be true. That we're prepared today to see the introduction of, debate, study, and pass legislation that does put Canada first, that secures our border, that breaks down those interprovincial trade barriers, that repeals the anti-resource development legislation that, like Bill C-69 that the Liberals have passed, and ensures that we can pass a bring-it-home tax cut for Canadians. We can address that issue, which the House is supposed to be sitting right now. We could be doing that, and then when that issue has been put to rest, we can deal with the matters of confidence, because Canadians are looking for a new government. They've seen that after 9 years, Justin Trudeau and the the Liberals, they can't be trusted to protect Canadians' interests, and that's what should be front of mind for every single elected official and everyone who's running to be Prime Minister is what are they doing today to put Canada first? Are they in hiding, or are they prepared to unlock the doors of the House of Commons and let Canada's 338 members of Parliament do their jobs?
Do you support the challenge? Do you support the challenge that is going to be heard by the federal court next week, calling on the courts to overturn the prorogation?
The House of Commons should not have been prorogued by Justin Trudeau in order to. We believe that Parliament should be recalled in advance of. Would you like me to answer your question? We think that Parliament should be recalled today. It ought not to have been prorogued to begin with. This is a very important time for our country. There was no surprise to Justin Trudeau in the beginning of January that we were going to be dealing with these issues. He should not have prorogued Parliament. It should be recalled today. That's what Canadians expect, and that's why we're calling on the government to recall Parliament and to put Canada first.
Yeah, like honestly, they have been working a lot lately, but like in all of January, I didn't really feel like they were. Like honestly, like until late January, none of them really had much presence except the Team Canada. Like, you know, the whole Trump USA cabinet and everyone trying to step out in the leadership race. Like it's all that seemed like they were working on was their leadership races, their own kind of like trying. To me, they're all focused on the wrong thing, in my opinion.
Thanks very much.
Anyways.
Okay, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, we're gonna watch Jagmeet Singh react to this as well, guys.
I'm really honored to be here with Jenny Kwan, Member of Parliament for Vancouver East, an incredible force. I'm proud to be here with her today. We know that so many Canadians are deeply worried about Trump's tariffs. Just the threat of these tariffs have already meant job losses in Canada. We've seen companies cut jobs because of the threats. So people are deeply worried. And so we know a couple things. We know that Donald Trump wants Canada as the 51st state. Let us be clear, that is his goal. He has said that again and again. He has put that out on social media. That is his goal. He wants our water. He wants our critical minerals. He wants our natural resources. And he wants to let his billionaire buddies come into Canada and privatize our healthcare to make profits.
You lose me at billionaire buddies here.
The backs of people who are sick. He wants to turn sick people into cash cows. That is what he wants to do. We do not win this fight by making Canada look more like the United States. That is not how we win this. What we have to do is defend what we have, defend our values, defend our natural resources, defend our water, and most importantly, we have to defend Canadian jobs. We have to defend our jobs. And when it comes to healthcare, we have to defend it because it is our value. It is a deep value that we hold. That in Canada, you can get the best quality healthcare no matter who you are, and you do not have to pay out of pocket. We want to defend it against the American system, where you have to pay out of pocket, where people go bankrupt because of an illness that can be treated. That is not the way we want to move forward. We want to defend our healthcare system, and that's what we need to do. And so we've got to fight back by protecting our values and by protecting jobs and families in Canada. Les gens au Canada sont tellement... Donc on doit agir que le Canada, nos amis, mais cadeaux publics. I thought I'm ready for any questions that you might have.
Okay. There's 5 minutes here, guys, to answer your questions. We're going to watch.
Yeah, you want me to do it again? I can do it again. If no one else has questions, I'll do it again. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Okay, cool. We'll do it again.
Would you like to say something? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Our leader said it all.
I'll let CTV set up, and then in case you missed the first, I'll do it again. For
okay.
Yeah.
What?
This is great. Was this ours, Ali? Oh, that was great.
What is
this?
this?
So good, man. We need to have this with us.
Oh, dude, I want to clip this for non-context politics.
All right, yeah, so what
Okay.
was the opening?
Yeah, I'll give you the opening. Do you want me to look straight to camera or a little bit off camera? What's better for you?
Off camera's
Okay,
great.
cool. We've been speaking to lots of people, and obviously right now in Canada, people are deeply worried about the impacts of Donald Trump's tariffs. Just the threat of those tariffs, the threats alone have already meant job losses in our country. We've already seen people lose their jobs. So we have to take this very seriously. And our first goal, our number one goal, is to defend Canadian jobs. We've got to protect those jobs, protect those workers, and protect their families. That's number one priority for us as New Democrats. And a couple things have become really clear. First of all, Donald Trump wants Canada as the 51st state. He has said that again and again. That is what he wants. Let's believe him when he says that. He wants to put economic pressure on Canada because he wants our natural resources. He wants our water, our critical minerals. And he also wants to privatize our healthcare system to make his billionaire buddies even more money by profiting off the backs of people who are sick. We cannot win this fight by making Canada more like the United States. That is not how we do this. We don't win this fight by giving more to rich CEOs and billionaires, by giving them more incentive. That's not the way we fight this battle. The way we win this battle is by defending our values. We got to defend who we are, defend our natural resources, defend our water, defend our critical minerals, and defend workers, protect workers in our country and their families, and our healthcare system, which we are so proud of. This is a value that Canadians hold very deeply. The idea that you can go into a hospital if you've got an illness and you can get the best treatment possible and it doesn't cost you out of pocket. Of course, we need to improve it, but we need to defend it, keep it public, keep it there for people, and keep that value strong. That's what we need to do to defend our country.
He's just such a moron sometimes. Like, it's not what he's saying is entirely wrong. It's just because it's him saying it. I just feel like it's so hard to take him seriously on anything, especially like very serious issues. Yeah, no worries, Rob. No worries. Yeah, I honestly started way later than I thought I was gonna start. I thought I was gonna start at like 1 o'clock today, and I still wasn't even back at like 1:30. And I was driving back. I was like, oh crap! Like it's crazy day.
Clearly, they've already started it. They're going to keep doing it. How do we keep defending it and retaliation?
I've said this before, and I really believe this.
Hey, Calgary,
Donald Trump has
back.
shown himself to be a bully in many ways, and right now he's being an economic bully. And the only thing a bully understands is strength. We got to show strength. So retaliatory tariffs is one thing. We also have to hit him and his buddies where it counts. So that's why I've called for shutting off the flow of critical minerals. We know that we are one of the only reliable sources of critical minerals for the United States. And cutting off the flow of critical minerals would directly
fantastic,
hit
well
Elon
thought out
Musk,
idea.
the billionaire buddy.
You know what? I cannot take this guy. What are you saying? Like, he's just like how is this gonna help? Like, how is poking the bear more gonna be a good idea at this point? You know what I mean? Like how is this a great idea, Jagmeet? Like why? Like why? You know what I mean? Like you know, he deserves, like, he just deserves this treatment. So we're gonna put on something because he's earned it. He's earned it. He's made me mad. He's just coming a moron.
Donald Trump, also the billionaire buddy of Pierre Poilievre, also I should say, but it'll hit him directly, and that is a way for us to fight back and to push back. We've got to bring the fight. We've got to show that we're ready to fight back to defend our jobs, to defend our country and our values.
We're essentially in the lead up to an election. Justin Trudeau has said he's resigning. Liberals are choosing a new leader in that process. There's probably coming after them for non-confidence motions. Is this the time for Canada to get to an election?
There is going to be an election this year. There are confidence votes that are scheduled by law to happen at the end of March. I will be voting against the government at that time. But we still have about 2 months before that happens. And before that happens, there's a lot that can be done. First of all, we've said Parliament should be recalled right away. We need to pass a package of supports targeting those sectors where people are going to be impacted by the tariffs, making sure those workers have supports, have help, they don't lose everything. We've got to make sure that we've got those workers back. So we've got to pass that package. There's other things we can do too. The inquiry on foreign interference concluded. They have recommendations. They say certain laws need to be changed before the election. We can pass that as well. The Liberals set the schedule. They can set the schedule what bills come forward. They can choose to bring forward those bills, or they can choose to bring forward a confidence vote. The only confidence votes that has to happen by law is the end of March. We're going to vote against the government then. But in that meantime,
and then we're just gonna do something real quick. I know this is supposed to be a very serious political channel, but he's won this grand award of just being a complete Whoops. A complete moron. That song was. Just 1 second. You guys are gonna like this. You guys are gonna like this. You guys are gonna like it. Don't worry. Whoops. Not that one. Just 1 second. It's gonna be worth it. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing now. It's gonna be very worth it. Oops. He's earned it. I think this is a little lowbrow, but he's earned this. He's earned this.
Those 2 months, there's lots of work that became done to protect Canadians against these tariffs.
I'm trying to hold it on him.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. And I'll just add in one additional thing. We've seen this kind of movie before where Donald Trump just puts out really dangerous ideas, disrespectful, hurtful, and really undermining important institutions. And one of the things he said recently is that he would sanction the ICC. Canada is a signatory to the ICC. We are one of the early supporters and founders of the ICC. We believe in international law and holding those to account who violated international law with an international criminal court. The fact that he wants to sanction them for doing their work is another example of how dangerous his ideas are. He wants to undermine the rule of law. He wants to undermine important institutions, and we have to denounce that. That is wrong. The work that the ICC does is very important in maintaining the rule of law around the world and bringing.
Everyone's like, I'll just gotta bring Saul in to the stream. Hey, Saul.
Hey.
Hey, did you see the stream? Me putting the clown nose on him?
Oh, that's you doing that.
Yeah, what did you think?
I don't know. I didn't know if it was a video or not.
No, I
was like, they're not doing a very good job of keeping it on there.
I was trying hard. So I had the circus music playing, trying to hold the clown nose on him, just because, like, it's not that what he's saying is bad. It's just he's just so out of touch, and he just thinks he's like somehow dropping some profound knowledge or insight into something. It's just like you're like.
I think he just sees himself as way more in touch with the people than he actually is.
A man of the people.
That's how
he's saying he sees himself as a man of the people.
He's for the workers, right? For the proletariat.
He's just a moron. He's for the circus. That's what he's for. It's the only place he's going to get a job after this.
I agree.
Or should become a real stunt man. You know what I mean? Hey, guys, I'm going to jump up 20 cars. Actually, just kidding. It's 2. Oh, no, wait. Trudeau didn't let me do it, guys. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's what it would be, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry to take it off a serious note with the circus music and the clown nose. I was like, you know what? This is like, you deserve this. You deserve this, Jagby. Like, you deserve this. But do you have anything you want to say on all that?
I don't know anything about what was going on with Jagby saying, but I was thinking in regards to the hot mic moment for Trudeau, I was just reading a few articles on it. And it's actually like, I just had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday where I was kind of talking about, we were talking about stuff that's going on right now. And I was just kind of saying, I really don't like Trudeau, but, as everybody else knows, I think Trump is worse, blah, blah, blah. But my big problem with Trudeau is that he does such stupid things. Like he's really, it's like the whole thing with like the in-flight meals that were millions of dollars, where it's like, you have to be aware that this is going to look psychotic to people, right? And I don't think he is, because I think it was $200,000 in his mind. Yeah, and I think in Trudeau's mind, he sees that's not like because at the end of the day, it really is a trivial amount of money to the government, right? But that doesn't matter to people, right? People see that price tag and they're like, what the hell is what is this guy eating? I've never eaten anything that expensive in my life, right?
Dude,
I don't think that
who can justify $200,000 for like a dinner for 20
rich people,
even a dinner for 200 people, even a dinner for 2,000 people, a dinner for
somebody who grew up
people.
like Justin Trudeau.
Dude,
that's who thinks that's normal.
Dude, you could feed like 200,000 people with that much money. You know what I mean?
Listen, I am on board with you.
Of individuals.
I like McDonald's and Tim Hortons and cheap food. I'm a cheap food connoisseur, okay? I completely on board with you, but I'm just saying, like, the people who don't realize that that looks messed up is the people like Trudeau, right? Because he grew up rich. He doesn't know that that's weird. He doesn't know that that comes off as out of touch, right? And like,
you know, even like 20,000, even then would be hard to justify. The fact is, like,
it was funny too, because
it was like what, $220,000 or something. It was something insane, and that was when
other
Pierre
thing
brought up, right? Because it was actually something they reported as an actual expense, so they wanted to get reimbursed for it all. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Is they didn't even think it was weird. They're like, oh, this is what normal people eat, right? Like, that's how I think he honestly,
because Pierre knew it was all public money and that it's all disclosed. He's got like the lowest spending. It's like 60,000.
Dude, that's the thing, is because Pierre has been a regular person before. He knows that looks messed up. Trudeau is quite literally, he's so far outside of most people's like income brackets, you know, like he's never really had to work. He just came into a whole bunch of money.
I don't think like, Singh's not the same class as Trudeau, but I definitely think that
Sing's not quite the same, but I think that he's grown. I don't know. You know, he's more of a I think he's more dishonest than Trudeau is, honestly. I think Trudeau doesn't realize what a doofus he looks like. He thinks he looks, because the reality is, I think that Trudeau in person is actually quite charismatic. I think that's why Trump thought they were friends. And then when he saw him talking behind his back at that meeting in Europe, or laughing at him or whatever, I think it really hurt his feelings. I think he thought they were friends, and he was all pissed off because he was being two-faced with him, right? Acting like he was his buddy to his face. And then they go to Europe with the cool people, and Trudeau's laughing behind his back. Not really. I don't actually think they're cool.
Trump I'm just saying, like, more than he gets hurt. You know, I feel like Trump is someone who holds a grudge. I think you're
looking at it the wrong way. Then this guy has an extremely fragile ego. He gets really upset when people wrong him, right? And he likes people who praise him. He likes people who are nice and compliment him. That's why he likes Kim Jong-un. And you know, like that. That was it. Just as soon as the guy started complimenting him, he was all about it.
You know, Kim Jong-un went to high school in Switzerland under a fake name.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I was talking to my friend about this. I was like, was it like an inside joke that everyone knew who he was, and they just pretend his name was like Daniel Kim or something? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like some random dude that just all pretended was normal, but they all knew who he really was. You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild that like you have this like elite class that are connected globally, right? And that does exist, and I think people need to acknowledge that, right? And not acknowledging that doesn't do anyone any favors, because there's people like that who go to these prestigious private schools. We're talking about how much money you have. It's just about who you are. Right, it's like my family is. I'm Trudeau, you know. There's certain places where I feel like money can't even get you in the door. It's just who you are is more important. It's almost like there's like this feudal system, you know, within our politics. We don't even understand.
You're more right than you're realizing with the feudal thing too, because the reality is that a lot of these kids couldn't go to a regular school.
Honestly, Northwest Coast, they did not. I've gone through the records. Like, Trudeau has blown it out of the water. Like, he's made them all look horrible. He is topped their records tenfold for spending on everything. Like, go look at the records. Like, try and find me one prime minister who spent $200,000 on a dinner for 20-something people. Find that for me, please.
But anyways, what I wanted to get at was that I said to my friend that I was talking to, I was saying how, you know, part of the reason why I would rather have a guy like Mark Carney than Justin Trudeau is because Mark Carney wouldn't go to a meeting in the EU and make fun of Donald Trump in a place where he could be recorded. That's so stupid, right? Like, why wouldn't you think that, like, just don't do anything that's going to potentially make you look bad in a public place? You should know better. You have cameras on you all the time. What are you doing, right? And it's the same thing with this. You didn't know that somebody could have been recording you? Like, what are you thinking? Why are you saying one thing to the public and a completely different thing to this group of people behind a closed door where you don't think you're being recorded? Like, it's just, I can't even imagine he's ever gotten away with something like this. Like, I feel like every time he does it, he gets caught. And he's just so stupid. Like, I think JJ McCullough really, his words stuck out in my head forever. Like, I will always kind of see Justin Trudeau now as the George W. Bush of Canada, where he was like, the way that I perceive him now is like a dopey kind of like doesn't really even care what's going on around him guy, right? He just thinks he wants to hang out with his friends and fly on jets and go to fancy European meetings with and feel important, right? That's all he wants to do. He would have actually been a fine foreign affairs minister if his whole job had been to go and schmooze Trump, and that was his only job, and he didn't have to go on stage and virtue signal to everybody afterwards. He would have been great at that. Trump did like him at first. He did, you know, and like
I was
he
just gonna
blows
say
it
because
he's not a good leader.
Snake. Someone's called Mark Carney a snake, but you know what Mark Carney really is? He's a vampire cat. That's what I found out. Look at this. Look at this smile. This is where I've seen it before. Look at this.
I can't see it.
Oh, it's on the stream. But yeah. Anyways, you should have it up there. Yeah, I'm just saying this is what Mark Carney really is, guys. I'm just kidding. But
that makes him look cute. I like the cat.
Makes him look like a vampire cat.
He's like a little cat. I just want to pet him on the head now.
Oh, all right.
Feed him
Saul,
some cat
Saul
treats,
wants
you know?
to pet Mark Carney. Saul wants a heavy
That's
pet.
it. Nowhere else.
Pet Mark Carney. Pat Mark
I didn't
Carney
say
on the
heavy.
head.
You're putting words in my mouth. This is dishonest.
Okay. Sorry. Misinformation.
Straw man. This is straw man. That's not what I said.
Anyways, we can move on now. I wanted to kind of go over a couple more things. Before we move forward here. Oh no, we're gonna skip over that.
Okay,
video.
we have some breaking news.
We ended up talking about it anyway, so I wasn't sure if you're gonna join in. So I had that queued up just in case. Yeah, that's what we played at the start. We've actually played it twice now in Blonde and Law, the clip. So I'm not gonna play it again. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna play it again. We'll probably repost it as a short though for people who wanna look at it and our reaction to it and stuff like that. But do you think this could have been staged for messages to DT, Canadian public, etc.? I think it's very possible. Very possible. Very possible it was staged. Maybe he was told he wasn't allowed to say
I
it.
don't think
and
it
he
was
wanted
staged.
to say it.
No,
And
I
he
think he's
wants
just an
everyone to be
idiot.
riled up. Yeah, that's possible too. I just think it's possible.
He's dumb.
I think
he's
it's
just big
I
dumb.
don't know. If you were to place bets, you're gonna say he's just dumb and he actually didn't know he was being recorded.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I think because there's no way this makes him look good. It just looks stupid. You just look like an idiot.
Okay.
And a liar. An idiot and a liar. I just don't know. I don't know how you could
I
possibly
assume
think it.
all politicians are lying to a certain amount, to a certain extent. It's just, a matter of finding that balance of maybe, they're only lying. Like Trudeau is like very high on that, but like in a sense of like, I imagine every politician is lying at some level.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like a broken promise and just an outright lie too, though. Like, I think that when you're saying one thing to the public and then you get behind doors with people that you respect more, you are more straightforward with them. It's like, I don't know, screw you, man. Like why say anything at all? Like, why not just keep saying the thing you've been saying? If you're going to lie, if you're going to and not even really lie, just if you're going to lie about how you feel about it, because everybody knew what Trump said. It's not like Trump said something different to him at dinner. Trudeau is just basically saying like, I do take it seriously. And I think that this is real, but if you feel that way, then maybe, I don't know, I guess you're showing your cards if you say it publicly, but you're showing your cards if you say it to a room full of people too. What are you doing?
Well, speaking of vampire cats and Saul's new favorite
House pet.
He's gonna adopt him. He's gonna rescue Mark Carney from the Liberals. Give him a good home.
Give him a little bowl of milk,
Hey, now let's just drop it. This is getting weird. Well, we're
Yeah,
gonna drop
you're
this
the one
now.
making it dirty.
I'm not making it dirty. That was never mind. Let's move on.
I'm talking about a pussycat. That's all.
Mr. Trudeau said today about comments
That
from
one was
Donald Trump. He
intentional.
seems to be serious with the 51st state. And, well, you've been in the polls this morning, named as the favorite for Canadians to face Mr. Trump. So what do you think? What do we do against Mr. Trump?
Well, look at this guy. This guy never would have done that. He wouldn't get caught with his pants down like that.
Maybe he did in hockey.
This guy looks like he doesn't take his pants off in front of his wife. He's probably too shy.
It's
That's
like
what-
Tobias
he just
from
wouldn't do
Arrested
that.
Development, dude. You remember Arrested Development? Tobias the never nude, and he's got like the cut off jean shorts underneath
I
all
don't
the
know.
time.
I
he can't take them off or whatever, even in a shower and stuff. That's what he is. He's just that insecure about his body, just like blinds the room. Can you imagine how
He reminds me of like Dale Gribble and Hank Hill combined into one person. Like that's his mannerisms.
I can see him having the body of Dale Gribble for sure.
He looks like he's smoked more than one cigarette
Like,
in
if
his
you
life, for sure.
Maybe I don't know. With the Pope at dinner.
What do we do against Mr. Trump?
Well, the first.
He probably found the one other guy there that smoked cigarettes, then left the dinner together.
It's not a surprise.
He's that normal. He just smokes darts. He just hacks darts back.
Yeah, doesn't do cigars.
Just hack a dart.
Neck's
It's not a
reds.
surprise to us that he and the Americans have designs on what we have.
Was it Canadian? Yeah, I don't even know if we can. Yeah, I can't remember the brands from
our resources and other options, but they're for us. They're for Quebecers. They're for Canadians, and we will make the most of them. The second thing is that we control our destiny. We're masters in our own house. We have enormous investment opportunities here in the region, here in the city. We're going to pursue them. The federal government has immense powers, and this is really, it's a crisis, but it's also a massive, massive opportunity. And what we need is to work as a team with Joël, Jean-Yves, moi, les autres députés, the other deputies in Quebec, with all levels of government across Canada, and that's part of what these discussions are about. If I can say one last thing, in my discussions across Quebec, but also across Canada, I'm very encouraged by the resolve that Canadians are showing. They want to be positive.
Or like some menthol slims, like
these look fancier than anything I've ever. I haven't smoked since high school, but like that's. I used to do Benson and Hedges
back when I was trying to be cool.
Everybody switched to Nexts. They got too expensive.
Want to move forward. They don't want division. They've had enough of insults, and what we're offering is that positivity, that sense of action, and really a plan that will move forward, and we very much look forward to doing it, irrespective. This is the most important point, irrespective of what the Americans do. So we don't have to get up in the morning and look at Twitter and decide how we feel that day.
Oh, they sell them in English.
You know what? He should have just.
I didn't even hear his statement. I was too busy thinking about him smoking cigarettes. And
I was thinking too. Like he'd probably get some points in the polls if he just like lit up a dart and threw some shades on and walked away from the reporters.
That's what I mean. I feel like he should just be more
tries to be more of a bad boy than Pierre. Just comes in like leather jacket on, knocking stuff off of the speaker's podium in the House of Commons. Like
he'll bring out the inner hockey player, man.
Bring out the inner hockey player.
Take out one of your
who likes hockey players? I feel like everyone says they're always D-bags. You know what I mean? Like everyone I know, like who knows hockey players who doesn't play hocky thinks they're all D-bags. But
I think they're entertaining. I'm not saying everyone plays hockey. We're living.
High school kids. When you're in high school, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
We need a president. We need a prime minister that acts like a Letterkenny character. That's what I want.
Just comes up in a denim suit, like denim jacket, denim shirt, denim jeans, and some Bluntstones or something.
We're living in. I heard there was these two guys talking about the Trump admin right now and how he's almost acting like the first season he was the star. This season he's the host and he's got all these characters around him and like, oh, well, RFK Jr. pass his confirmation and everybody's watching the confirmations. They don't know if they're going to get voted off the island or not. Matt Gaetz didn't make it. It's like that's how he's performing it. So, just lean into it. Just start acting like TV characters. Why not?
Well, RFK got confirmed, right? So.
Yeah, they all did. Yeah, they all got passed except for Gaetz. Gaetz dropped out he dropped out to say he was becoming attorney general and then he didn't become attorney general.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just because he wanted to avoid that or was it special investigation or whatever into what he was doing?
Yeah. Well, me and Saul didn't play hockey in high school, Rhonda. That's why we're talking like this. If that wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
Research.
I had friends who I had lots of friends who were hockey players.
That was about it. Played some street hockey.
Yeah, I played street hockey. That was it.
Honestly, I didn't. I can't say it. I played football, so everybody else who played any other sport was just automatically the enemy. Because football is weird. It's like everyone in football culture, it's like this sport is superior to all other sports. And I imagine most sports are like that. But it was like soccer players, dude. Football players and soccer players don't mix, dude. Like amount of times I saw multiple coaches over the years try and get in a fight with a soccer coach over just like random stuff about field time. And it's just like some guy like South African accent. It's like, oh yeah, no worries, man.
Rob, he wasn't charged, but his co-defendant was charged with trafficking minors. So he was implicated heavily in the investigation, but he wasn't convicted of any crimes.
Canadian politics, guys. Let's just finish this. Stay on topic. We got a couple more.
You should look into it. I don't even know everything about it, but everything I have read, it's like, okay, this guy was probably doing some shady stuff.
Everyone's been talking about the polls.
He
lately.
looks like the type of guy to do that. It's not even surprising.
So we're talking about the polls lately. This video is talking a quick little video on the polls.
Or CTV News shows Mark Carney is the top pick to deal with U.S. President Donald Trump over conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and his fellow liberal leadership candidates.
On GroundedTV.
CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more on what the survey shows. Break this down for us, Jeremy.
Heather, it's a snapshot of how Canadians feel about the biggest issue facing this country right now. And the data clearly shows who they think is best to deal with U.S. President Donald Trump. The survey shows 2 in 5 Canadians, or 40%, feel former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney would do the best job negotiating with Trump.
This isn't a national poll from what I understand. This was taken in
Also,
Ontario.
he hasn't been tested with a national audience yet. I have no idea how this guy's. If he can pull it off, I'll be really impressed. I don't know if he's got it.
Is that 1%? Yeah. CPAC was calling her the hopeful, calling her the liberal hopeful. It was like the little MP that could, or couldn't, I guess, or just flopped and wasted a bunch of money.
I don't hate Karina, but I don't think she can be a prime minister.
No, not at all. But to be fair, she was her and Freeland were like Trudeau's attack dogs, in my opinion. Like those two were like his enforcers, ironically. Like these two right here, I feel like were the two that did all the dirty work when it came down to giving all the bad news. It was always one of these two. Always. Like Trudeau never gave bad news himself. Like he'd always avoid it. Especially his last term.
Yeah. No, totally. It's the same thing. The Trump strategy would just be to deny that it's happening.
It's also the question was who would do the best negotiating with Donald Trump. That was the question. What is the federal intention of voting, right? We need to remember that. So, and honestly, I think it's like, where was this taken? From what I understand, people were saying,
I really do. Honestly, dude,
liberal dominant riding. That I think it's just a good story, right? It's a really good story to hear that Poilievre's slipping in the polls, right? Because everybody wants to see Poilievre fall at this point. Everyone who doesn't like him wants to see him fall because this is going to be.
I feel bad for him.
For them, that's a great story. This is like
he's having a
David
sure
and
thing
Goliath
stolen
at this
from
point.
him.
It's essentially David and Goliath. Like that's what it
By
would be.
Donald Trump. In my opinion, I think that Pierre Poilievre, if he loses this election, it's Trump's fault. Trump could have waited and he could have had the most ideologically aligned prime minister in Canada since Mulroney and Reagan, forever ago. He could have had he wanted to attack fentanyl too. He wanted to strengthen the border too. He wanted to have free trade and all this stuff. He would have had a literal, just somebody who wanted to do everything he wanted to do. And instead he blew it. He starts making these threats, talking about, I don't know, it's just so stupid.
Yeah, I just don't think the average day Canadian is going to like Mark the Carney at all. I feel like they'll end up they'll just be like, no, he's just some weird vampire cat who I don't know, who's a banker in England who Liz Truss says is horrible. And it's not even just Liz Truss. There's actually a lot of people kind of speculating.
Liz Truss is an idiot.
Well, it's not just Liz Truss who said it. It's there's other professionals who have spoken out against it. And people who work for big banks have spoken out against his way of dealing with things. And he tends to put ideological priorities over fiscal economic priorities.
So does Pierre.
Not really. It seems like fiscal priorities takes the top priority with him, in my opinion. From what he's presented himself, from what he's said
Carney
so far.
Does have I've gotten far enough into the book that I understand where people are concerned about his ideology, but everything that he says, and from every implication that I've gotten, I think he's somebody who would value the economy above everything, especially right now.
Honestly,
he knows it's the same for people like that. I mean, they were willing to put on masks, even though they're trying to save the planet, right? Those all ended up in landfills. But if they believe it's for the greater good, they stick on, they do it.
I think
they'll
Mark
do it
Carney
anyways.
would also spend a crazy amount of money on an airplane dinner. I feel like he is subjected to this elitist, to this class of elite that just wants to impress, right? And I feel like having that leads to attitudes like spending $200,000 on an airplane for one dinner. You know what I mean? It's just wild.
Trudeau, yes. I don't know. Mark Carney doesn't come off as a showboater to me. There was that one fake story about him coming in a Cadillac limo or whatever to the speaking thing, and that wasn't even his. The limo driver themselves said that wasn't who they were driving. It was some other person at the event.
We know his net worth's $5 or $7 million, isn't it? We looked into it.
I'm not saying this guy's never had an expensive dinner.
He's definitely got a nice car.
I'm saying he would know. He would know that it looks. He would know what it looks like.
Pierre's actually worth $4 million. People need to remember that. Know that too.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Both of these guys, in my opinion, would know better than to order that much, order a super expensive dinner on a plane when everyone's going to be able to see it. I think. Or if they were going to buy it, they would buy it with their own money.
Yeah. It's also saying who would do the best job negotiating with Trump. This is not reflecting federal voting intention. People need to remember that.
Yeah,
so this is not a federal voting intention poll. The question was who would do the best job negotiating with Trump. And apparently where this poll was taken by Nanos polling, they found 40% of recipients said Carney. But just to be fair, what conservatives are going to the polls? What conservatives are being called for polls? Tell me one. If you're a conservative, you've been called for a poll. I get called for a survey. I'm like, no, bye. I hang up. I hang up.
It looks to me like 26% of the people they called were conservatives, at least.
Yeah, who picked up the phone and didn't hang up right away?
I agree. I do. I also think Mark Carney would be good at dealing with Donald Trump. But at the same time, I would never assume that this means anything or implicates anything for the future of the country, or like who's going to be prime minister. I don't think so. I'm hopeful. I would like it if he was, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah. No, and definitely this whole thing is just, it's called data mining, guys. What's it called? Data mining? Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess.
26% feel Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre would be better, while 13% favored Liberal leadership candidate Chrystia Freeland and just 1% Karina Gould. Now, it's important to note this is how Canadians feel about this specific issue. Most election polls still indicate the Conservatives have a significant lead over the Liberals when it comes to voter intention. The question now, will Trump become the
Rob reluctantly would say Carney would do a good job because he's more sly. Sorry, he's a real vampire. You know, he's actually a cat. He's just gonna like get in there and knock stuff off the counter.
Ballot box issue for the next general election.
What the numbers tell us is that the ballot question, if it changes to focus on Donald Trump in the next federal election, could be a bit of a game changer for the competition between the Conservatives and the Liberals.
I just want a chess player in charge. You know, I want somebody who's able to think a couple steps ahead, because if this does get hairy, I don't want somebody who's going to act impulsively in charge.
Yeah, we need someone who knows we need someone who knows where the board is and knows it's not checkers. For sure.
Yeah.
The survey also found Canadians are increasingly supportive of immediate retaliation to U.S. tariffs, and they support a wide range of measures, having provinces pull U.S. wine, beer, and liquor from stores across the country, imposing dollar-for-dollar counter tariffs on U.S. goods.
Trump is not joking when he says he wants to annex Canada. Those words coming from none other than the Prime Minister himself, according to sources. Justin Trudeau made the remark at a closed-door trade summit of Canadian business and labour leaders in Toronto. CTV's Judy Trin was at the summit and has more on what was discussed and the urgency behind it, Judy.
Heather, the Prime Minister was clear. Donald Trump wants to turn Canada into the 51st state, and he's coming after our energy.
What is it, these facial moves? She looks like she's trying to do like a blue steel look the whole time. Yeah, and like people can say what they want about Northwest Coast, but he's in here all the time and he's disagreeing actively, and I respect it. I respect you being opinionated. I respect everybody sharing their opinions regardless of what it is. I don't have to agree with it to respect it, or respect that you're willing to share your opinion, right? And I think that's something we need more of. We need more people talking, more people sharing their opinions. Maybe we can find something that we agree on, and maybe we can actually move forward as a country by highlighting the common ground.
Yeah. Kane too. Both those guys are really respectful too. They're not like ever insulting other people in the chat and stuff. I haven't seen anyways.
200 of Canada's top CEOs and labor leaders, from the auto sector to agriculture to tech, preparing for an economic war, brainstorming how to stop Donald Trump's weaponization of tariffs.
Maybe not this time
We are
around,
in a moment that we have to meet for Canadians.
The Prime Minister was more urgent after the media left the room. Sources say he told participants there's no doubt that Trump wants to turn Canada into the 51st state,
Chats
and that
now,
he
the House of
wants
Commons,
our
yeah.
energy.
What Donald Trump has awakened us all to is...
What's up, Kane?
Well, that was kind of the point, honestly. It's like supposed to be like a parliament of the people, so to speak. You know, like a bunch of there's no credentials required, right? Like I don't have any credentials. Like I'm not qualified at all. I'm just a dumb
I feel like
YouTuber.
even me and Justus, like since we've started the show, we agree on a lot more than we used to. Like we've slowly come to agreements.
Well, I think that just happens the more you talk on things and stuff. You're eventually going to find that common ground. And I love saying that because I think that's Trudeau's book, wasn't it? Wasn't it Trudeau's book he called Common Ground?
Common Ground? I don't know.
One person can change the course of everybody else's prosperity here.
Trudeau told the audience Trump had a 4-page list of grievances, that he wants Canada's critical minerals to further his protectionist goals. This
Trudeau.
American lobbyist says that may give
Yeah, we're like a House of Commons with no speaker, actually.
Canada some advantage.
I absolutely think energy security has been abundantly clear that that's a priority for the Trump administration. I think critical minerals are a huge part of that. Canada is much further along in developing their resources and have more resources than the United States.
Rob,
so it is a
Rob, this is a safe space, buddy. It's a very safe space. You can share anything you want.
point of leverage.
Discussion
Actually, don't share anything you want. Actually, it has to follow YouTube guidelines and check guidelines.
focused on 3 areas. First, fighting off the 25% tariff threats, then eliminating interprovincial trade barriers and loosening some federal regulations in the next 30 days. Finally, supercharging development. Among the discussions, building east-west pipelines to move oil and natural gas and using more nuclear energy.
We will continue to fight for the sovereignty of our country while strengthening Team Canada right here at home. We are ready for any eventuality that comes our way from a Canada-US perspective.
There was also a lot of discussion.
Okay, well, that's about it for stuff I had to cover today. It was just this. Here, 1 second, go to the screen. We're pretty much like, I'm pretty much almost don't have much time left today. I started very late. I meant to start earlier today, but we'll be streaming tomorrow. We'll be streaming tomorrow probably around 11 a.m., I think, PST. So probably normal amount of time, normal amount of stream time, just a little bit later than usual. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Justus saved the day today too, because I was supposed to stream, and then at the last minute I realized I had an orthodontist appointment for my kid, and well,
yeah, it was a mix. It was a mix. I took way longer in the city than I needed to. Or than I wanted to. Sorry, I should say. I needed the time there, but I didn't want the time there. It's I really every time I leave the city, I moved out of the city and I went to like the closest city to me, which is a smaller city than I grew up near, and it still drives me nuts. Like, still just I can't stand it. Like, I just even like going and getting food and stuff, and they're just like, just the way they treat you is so different. Because like in a small town, you go like even McDonald's, they just like they'll talk to you. They'll be like, "Hey, how's your day going? Hey, how's it going?" And like this, just like literally threw the food at me, and I was like, "What the?" I was like, "What?" And then they like open it up, just threw all the food in the bag. I was like, literally just thrown in there. And that's when I called you about the bacon area with no bacon. And I was just like, what the hell is this? Like after that too, and I was just like,
losing it. Yeah,
your week, Justus. I was gonna say,
week. Turdo in the chat reminds me of Gary Oak from Pokemon. You know, the games where he's always like, "Smell you later." See, you know.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Have a nice night, hosers.
Sure. I was gonna say, what does Rob remind you of? You know, just kidding. Not gonna pick on Rob anymore. But he picks on us a lot, so we got to give it back to him a little bit. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's just,
he's got special privileges.
Special privileges. Yeah. Well, if you're a longtime supporter, you're gonna get away with a little bit more than if someone randomly coming in the room, right? Supposedly.
For sure, yeah.
We're just saying that to make Rob feel better, though. But yeah, no, it's a pretty crazy situation. Like, any final thoughts on how you'd feel about?
No, I mean,
about this whole
I just
thing?
feel like he's stupid, and it just kind of goes to, you guys can mock me. I almost have dinner ready. LOL.
All right, Northwest Coast, you stink. I bet you smell bad. I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, I don't. I bet
just attacking your character.
Yeah.
But last
no,
night
we
was
love
funny.
Northwest Coast.
Honestly, Rob, at the end of it all, I was laughing. I was laughing at the end of the night. Like, if your goal was to make me laugh by sharing that meme in the Discord, it worked. I'll say that it worked, because I was laughing when when I was typing. I was laughing. I was like, "What?" Like, you said this might be risky as you posted.
Oh no,
it.
I haven't seen. I'm gonna add
You gotta
that.
send it to Saul. You gotta send it to Saul so he can understand the context.
I
of
know
it all.
I get it. Strange Brew. Yeah, I've had that on my backlog for a long time. I got to make sure I watch that one soon. I've never seen it.
Yeah,
it's one with Rick Moranis and stuff.
Oh no,
who else is in it?
Never seen it actually.
Dave Thomas.
Honestly,
Rick Moranis
is a very underrated actor. Like, Spaceballs was a good movie. Like, I feel like everybody who didn't like John Candy and Rick Moranis in the same movie? Like, it was pretty good. But yeah, no, it's right.
I forgot John Candy was in. Is he in Spaceballs? He is.
Yeah. He plays the dog man, who's like
guy, right?
basically Chewbacca, but it's like a dog man.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
But anyways, that's all the time we have for today. My final thoughts on the whole thing is I don't really think it matters how we feel about it, because at the end of the day, I think it's up to America what happens, because we can't really do much about it. Like, we can resist, we can make it difficult, but I don't know what else we can really do at the end of the day to prevent that kind of thing from happening if we tried to.
I think that Trump would have a lot of friction if he was going to try and do something like that by force. I don't think a lot of Americans are gung-ho about starting like an actual territorial dispute with their neighbors at this point.
Yeah, but it's just, it's everyone
But
crapping
we'll
all over their dinner table here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about it. I'm just
Thanks,
so
guys.
processing it all. But we'll see what happens, right? Maybe this is all just
We'll be
maybe
back.
Trudeau's
Are
just
we
being a
gonna-
drama queen, guys. Maybe he's just a drama queen.
Are we streaming tomorrow?
Yeah, I said I'm streaming tomorrow, 11 a.m. PST.
Okay.
I'll be
Sounds
starting.
good.
I'll be going for usual time, 3 or 4 hours, whatever. So Saul will
I'll
join
probably
when
be
he
on the
can.
same time then.
All right, sounds good. All right,
Okay,
thanks,
see you
guys.
guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Everybody, stay
Take it easy.
grounded, except Rob.
Stay safe.
I hope you have a bad night, Rob. See you later, guys.